Hey guys, welcome to Super Marvel Bros, the Marvel Cinematic Universe recap podcast.
Hey, I'm Brendon, and I'm very sick this week.
Yeah, and I'm Connor, and I'm getting there.
Yeah, and we're getting ready to get you. We are trying to get you ready for the greatest cinematic event to possibly grace this hemisphere of the galaxy.
Of the galaxy?
Marvel Infinity Wars.
Okay. Yeah.
Avengers Infinity War, yes, not just Marvel.
Yeah,
it's everyone.
Marvel. Well, it might as well be Marvel Infinity Wars.
So, Connor, we took like a little side quest.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks.
It was a nice cutaway story. It's like, we just hit a lot of heavy drama. Let's
some cosmic D&D, maybe.
Oh man, those movies are so D&D. Not funny.
But now we gotta get back to reality. We gotta come back to Earth.
Reality.
We gotta come back to Earth.
Back to Earth. Where we got Will Smith. Well, cheap Will Smith, which is Falcon.
And we're getting the band back together.
Did we use that one already?
Yeah, we used it last episode.
Okay.
It's a continuality joke. Our fans love those.
Okay. I get it now. It's funnier now that you explained it.
Yes, that's how all jokes work. Once you explain them, they're good. We're doing Avengers Age of Ultron 2015, Joss Whedon, the movie that almost killed him. And I'm not exaggerating, like he almost died during this movie.
Really?
Yeah, he like broke like an arm or stuff. Like it was bad.
He's an intense director, I guess.
This movie was the follow-up to the super successful Avengers. It did make $1 billion, almost $1.5 billion worldwide.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But I feel like this is like the forgotten movie when you think about Marvel.
It's definitely like you hear, oh man, first Avengers was good, and then like Civil War was good.
So I'm gonna ask you a question because I've been reading. I've been on the interwebs. I've been reading. So when this movie came out, I remember the hype when the trailer got leaked.
Oh yeah, there's no strings on me.
It was supposed to come out on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and leaked like 3 days earlier, and Marvel's like, screw it, all right, here it is.
Yeah, that was hype.
And I remember that trailer being it looked super dark.
Oh yeah.
And I want to ask you this question before we even get into the movie. Do you think the marketing of this movie hurt its reputation long run? The fact that it's sold as a super dark movie. Like, almost like they're selling Infinity Wars as dark movie. They sold this as a super dark movie, and then you get in there, and it's probably more lighthearted than the first Avengers.
I guess I would say they're selling Infinity Wars as tragic, but there's a lot of, like, destruction. Anyway.
Okay. But let's pose this question. They sold this movie as a super dark movie that's going to greatly change the universe, and I'd say it might be more lighthearted than the first Avengers.
Yeah, there are moments. You just wanted to point out all the forced comedy moments.
There was a lot of them, though. That's a problem.
There was a lot.
But do you think
Joss didn't learn from
Do you think the marketing hurt the reputation of this movie? Had you sold this as this is the Avengers movie you loved the first time again instead of this dark movie, do you think people would like it more?
I don't think it would have done as well if they sold it. Like, I don't think initially it would have done as well if they sold it as here's Avengers 2 and it's just like Avengers 1. I think the fact that they made it dark was like, oh man, like the fact that they sold it dark got people there.
So you think?
So I guess if you're looking at sales initially, if you're looking at sales and not if people enjoyed it, no, it did not hurt the movie. It helped the movie.
But you think I'm thinking long term. We're watching this movie 3 years later.
Yeah, I think I would have been more interested in a dark movie.
Because I think like the tonal shifts in this movie like really hurt it.
Especially if you think about it. I mean, continuality wise for Earth, you're coming right off Civil War. Like
Civil War happens after this,
or not Civil War. I get Civil War and Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, yeah.
I don't know why.
Oh my god, how do you do that?
Because Civil War is branded as a Captain America movie. That's why.
Yeah, and Civil War. Yes, yeah, I guess that's true.
the
Okay,
logos are very similar. Anyway,
shut up. Shut up, you. All right, let's talk about this. Did you see this in theaters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't think if you like these movies. I can't think that you wouldn't see an Avengers movie. So
let me tell you a funny story about me seeing this in theaters. Mm-hmm. I pre-ordered tickets, but this was before you. I pre-ordered tickets to the show, but this was before you could get reserve seats.
Okay, so you just had tickets.
Yeah, and this is when I lived back in Virginia.
Okay.
And my lovely wife had to work that day. We had tickets to the 2:45 show. She was.
Oh, wasn't this like she got called in or something?
Shh. Let me finish my own story.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I had tickets to the 2:45 show. She was gonna be off work at 2. So
you had plenty of time.
I was going to pick her up. We were less than 5 minutes away from the theater.
Oh, so it was been like, hey, we can stop at Mickey D's on the way or something.
Oh,
right?
yeah, we get the popcorn, we get the soda, we get
Absolutely,
whatever you want. Baby, you can have whatever you like.
So,
like, it's perfect.
Right.
2:15 comes, she's still not outside.
Oh,
I start calling, she's not answering.
That's when you storm in there.
2:25 comes, I'm calling, she's not answering. 2:35 comes.
Oh, that's when you're sweating.
And she walks in and said the other person was late.
Nah, see, that's the thing where it's like, look, I got plans.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't, like, I'm not going to mention the company she was working for, but, like, that's a company that you could say, no, I'm leaving.
But here's the problem. This is when I learned you should never watch a Marvel movie from the first row of a theater.
Oh, you get that neck.
You got, yeah. I was just like, oh, this is great.
You look like a turkey in a rainstorm.
Yeah, basically that was me the entire movie. My neck hurt for the next week. I had to go see it again because you can't just watch it there.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not good.
Yeah, so all right, you ready to just get into this now that I got my terrible story that no one cared about out of the way?
I'm trying to think of any funny stories I have of this. I remember, what year did this come out? 2015?
Yeah.
So I would have been in college. Actually, this was the year I graduated.
This came out in May. You might have been graduated, but
no. Technically, I wasn't until June.
Okay.
So, I was still in college, and I was probably still hanging out with friends, and I feel like we were making a lot of weird Pinocchio references because of this.
I mean, I remember the joke was that Disney bought Marvel just so they could use the Pinocchio song in this trailer.
To be fair, it worked.
It did, but again, the tone of the...
Okay, so I'm sensing another Iron Man 3 situation here.
Yeah.
So let's move on before we get there.
Let's just get into the movie. So, again, one thing Marvel does very well, starting for previous movies, but like with this movie, is the kind of vignettes, prologue before the movie.
Yeah, that's pretty intense. It's like they just drop you right into a mission.
They drop you right into an action scene, which is great. There's no build up. There's no nothing. You just there you are.
Like, and that was kind of, I mean, it was less of a build up than in the first Avengers, where it was like, oh, they're going over the Tesseract and blah 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 blah, and then like, they were like, no, people are getting shot. Let's go.
Yes, people getting shot. The first Avenger you see in this movie is Hawkeye, by the way. Let's point that out.
Yeah, Hawkeye. Which, hey man, get used to it. He's a pretty big character in this one.
Yeah, Hawkeye's a scene stealer in this movie, I would say.
He is. I really like him in this movie for him not existing in the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not gonna exist in Infinity War according to all the marketing.
Stop.
I'm gonna make you angry during this.
Don't stop.
All right.
After we see his lovely family.
So anyway, we get this whole scene. They're storming the last Hydra base or Shield base, if you want to call it that,
quote unquote.
And it's just really good action scenes. You get all the Avengers together, and I will give Josh Whedon this. I think this movie has better shots than the first Avengers.
Like from cinematography standpoint?
There are more, memorable shots.
Yeah, like
I don't think this movie's better than the first Avengers by any stretch of the imagination.
But visually, it's very appealing.
But there are a couple scenes now and then that you're just like, wow. And then I think that one scene where they're all jumping, it looks straight from a comic book.
Right in the prologue, it does. It looks exactly like from a comic book. And they just all like line up in this thing where they're like all about ready to like just beat people up, and it's pretty good. I would like to say that the last movie's end dialogue. What was the last line in the last movie we watched?
So the last movie we watched was Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yes.
The last words we hear in that movie is, even if you're ugly.
Yeah. The first words we hear in this movie are... Well, no, not the first words we hear in this movie. The first dialogue we hear in this movie is Iron Man saying the word shit.
I mean, can you think better bookends to movies?
Even if you are ugly. Shit! That's literally what it is.
So let's talk about... So this is a running theme throughout the movie. What do you think about the running language joke?
I think that's... I like it. Like, that was not forced humor. That feels like things that...
No, that one's not forced. I will say, it reminds me, like, when I was in high school, I made... I'm not going to go into it, but I mispronounced something the first week of my new high school.
Oh, man.
And that joke hung around me for the next 7 years. So I get...
I don't know what this joke is now.
I mispronounced a vacation resort in South Carolina that we frequented as children. The City, you dummy.
Oh, okay.
I mispronounced it. I added a U to it that wasn't in there.
Okay.
And that joke held with me for 7 years. So I totally get the idea of this joke that he says,
right.
like, accidentally just hanging with him for the rest of the movie. I think it is really funny because it does... That's a again, I'm going to use the word organic way of breaking tension.
Bioorganic?
Maybe even bioorganic way of breaking tension. Just like you add quantum to something, it makes it more extreme. Yeah. Bio in front of organic makes it more extreme.
No, it's a really great moment because like Iron Man like says that, and then Cap just immediately just goes like language, and then it gets brought up like a few minutes later where Iron Man's like, "Are we just gonna ignore the fact that he just said language?" And
there's a couple other jokes throughout the movie, so this is like the running theme, which I like the continuality they bring in there. Cap tomahawks a motorcycle in this scene, which I think is the coolest thing in the world.
He just like endos and then says, "No, I'm not stopping on this endo. I'm just taking the handlebars and throwing it." It's
amazing. And then we also get something you love, the Cap Thor combo.
Oh yeah, you mean them doing what everyone wanted to see in the first one?
Well, they saved it for the second one.
So like they actually use like combo attacks like at least twice in this movie. It's pretty good. Like Cap holds the shield up at like an angle and Thor hits it and he just makes a shockwave that knocks down like 10 soldiers.
And a tank.
Yeah,
don't forget the tank. So the whole plot of this is they're taking down the last Hydra base in Sokovia, this imaginary Eastern European country?
Yes.
City?
Country.
Where the last Hydra, I don't even remember his name because he's only in it for like 12 minutes.
It's like
Don Mulkey?
It's like Stetler or something like that.
Whatever. Who cares? He's nameless Hydra villain number 7. They're trying to take on the base, and they're going through and doing all these attacks. One thing I like is the base is shielded.
Yeah, there's an energy barrier. That's pretty good.
So you get this whole thing of Tony Stark trying to figure out how the energy barrier is made, and then once he figures it out, he's like, well, I'm going to poke it.
Yeah, he just shoots a missile at it.
And he just shoots a missile to disable it. We also get revealed that this Hydra villain, which again I don't remember his name and I don't feel like looking it up, has been experimenting with the scepter from the first Avengers on some people.
Yeah, specifically 2 twins, the Maximoffs.
Yeah, the Maximoffs, and they have superpowers now because the Mind Stone can do that.
Yep, because Infinity Stones. So this is kind of our first... Well, we get them introduced. We don't get their names. We never get their names, but... well, at least their superhero names. But we're introduced to Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, which is very interesting.
Yeah, which?
Yeah, which is very interesting because Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are directly related to X-Men.
Yeah, so I remember we actually looked this up during the movie. The big issue was Days of Future Past came out the year before, and Fox has some mistakes. They have some home runs. They have some mistakes. They had a home run with how they portrayed Quicksilver in Days of Future Past.
And I gotta say, in the next movie, they did it again, and it worked just as well.
Yeah, that movie's not good.
No.
And we should probably do that after we finish this run.
Let's worry about Infinity War.
But they do him really well. And I feel like there was just this, like, back alley deal that said, like, well, I guess we're not spoiling people. I've seen this movie. It's like, we're going to keep Scarlet Witch. You can keep Quicksilver. We'll take care of him in this movie. But, I feel like there's a backdoor deal that was made there.
But so we get Quicksilver, whose ability is he's a speedster. He's very fast. Then we get Scarlet Witch, whose ability...
Yes
is the right answer. Because they say explicitly a little later in the movie that it's like, oh yeah, she can mess with like brainwaves and stuff. Then some other stuff starts happening that's just very confusing. But so Quicksilver...
She's almost like a matter manipulator. It's
like she has telekinetic abilities and then she's a psychic as well.
Yeah.
So it's like she just does brain stuff. But I mean, look, if we're going off Scarlet Witch in the comics, she is a reality bender. But if we're not getting there.
I brought this up. It would make so much more sense if he was experimenting with the ether instead of the Mind Stone. If you experiment,
the Mind Stone makes sense for Scarlet Witch. Does not make sense for Quicksilver.
And I guess the Mind Stone makes sense when you're doing Ultron, but yeah, it doesn't make sense at all for Quicksilver.
Quicksilver's just like, And the Mind Stone gave him super speed. Like, that's what they were saying.
What was that accent?
It was German, because Hydra.
Oh, Hail Hydra.
Hail Hydra.
Anyway, we get this huge action scene. We're not going to go into all the details of it. Hawkeye gets shot because of Quicksilver. They do take down the base. I do like how Tony takes them all out, and he said good talk, and the one guy...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the one guy, it's like such a Wilhelm moment. The one guy, she's telling the phone, like, no, it wasn't.
We get the first scene of Sentry Mode.
Which is cool. Where he just walks out of his armor, and he's like, Sentry Mode, and the armor just goes, like, remote. Like...
And is protecting him. And we get the little... He pushes on the wall, and like, yay!
Yeah, that's...
Which is, like, it's one of my notes.
RDJ, man. He just has to love this role.
Yeah.
He was, like, made for Tony Stark.
Mulk, is it Mulkey Mulkey? Maybe is that the...
I don't know.
Alright, Hydra Villain number 8 now. Meets Cap, and he says something, and Cap just knocks him out, and I love how he, like, hits him so hard the monocle pops out of his eye.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't break. The lens just pops out.
It was pretty good. And we... Oh, you brought up the point when they go into the basement, you have one of those giant whales from the first Avengers.
Yeah.
And you said, isn't this the plot from Spider-Man Homecoming?
It is. It's like, okay, we'll take this technology that happened in Avengers and we'll use it. And that's the plot.
Which is the plot of Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
So, just on a smaller scale.
And then we kind of get a hint of, like, so what else they were experimenting with. And we see the big Chitauri whale monster that looks like a Ratchet and Clank villain.
Yeah, it does.
And then we get an interesting scene where Scarlet Witch sneaks up on Tony Stark and does this mind stuff and makes him hallucinate. And he sees, like, the whale thing coming to life, and then he sees all the other Avengers dead. And he goes up to Captain America, and Captain America grabs him and is like, you could have saved us. You could have done more. Which,
As the Chitauri are invading Earth.
Oh, yeah. Which I think was interesting because it kind of plays off the PTSD from 3.
Yeah, that's
Iron Man
good.
3.
That's good development. That's good continuality you have there.
Yeah, which I like a lot because that is kind of a main focus of his. And then that kind of starts getting the gears turning for how he's gonna do stuff. He calls them the Iron Legion.
Yeah, you were hyped about this
Because this was one of the best parts of Iron Man 3, which, good movie or not, caused a lot of discussion.
Peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
That's why I call that movie.
One of the cool parts was when he called in all the suits remotely, and they were like he says bring them to church, and it's like all like 50 suits or whatever, and they're all fighting. And that he kind of continued that idea with the Iron Legion, but they're all just kind of like Iron Man drones that aren't as cool as Iron Man armor, but they're kind of like used to direct people and stuff, and maybe do like some aerial stuff, but not. I don't think they're weaponized.
Yeah, but you can see that the people have a negative connotation of Tony Stark because his and it's revealed later in the movie that his weapons have been used in Sokovia.
Right.
So he just has a negative reputation. They throw acid at one of them.
Yeah.
There's people very upset that Stark is there.
Right. And then we kind of clean up, really.
Yeah, they just take it all out, and then,
and
then we get the Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Yeah, and that's when it was like, oh man, that was just a prologue. Like that had nothing to do. Like
that has nothing to do with the story, really.
Right.
And that's like a solid 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, and it's a good 10 minutes.
It is a good 10 minutes.
And then we kind of go into.
So we go to the Quinjet now.
Yes.
And the whole team's there. They have the Mind Stone.
Oh wait, we forgot to mention a big thing. They can like, I don't quote unquote control Hulk. They can un-Hulk Hulk.
Yeah, Black Widow can un-Hulk Hulk using the sun's getting real low,
which comes up in later movies. But
hey, you finally saw that movie.
Oh, saw most of the movie.
Anyway.
It's like the first 20 minutes, but
yeah, that's so important.
Yep. We'll say 10 minutes maybe.
Okay, so let's go back to where we are. We're in the Quinjet. Everyone's there. Bruce Banner's freaking out still because he still can't kind of comprehend what the Hulk can do.
Yeah.
And I do like the joke that's like, Thor, how did he do? And Thor says, and I wrote this down, the gates of hell are filled with the screams of his victims, which just literally puts Bruce Banner back on edge.
Yeah, he's like, oh no. And he's like, But they're like main screams, like no one's dead.
Like spraying deltoids.
Yeah, it's a pretty good Thor moment.
But I do like the chemistry's a little better in this movie,
Yeah.
which you expect.
Mm.
Like you expect, they've been together now. The chemistry's getting better, so I do like seeing that. They get back to Avengers Tower, Stark Tower in New York City.
Avengers Tower.
It's whatever tower. Insert name tower.
Yep.
In New York City, and they're gonna have a party in 3 days. It's a going away celebration party.
And during that time, Banner and Stark are going to analyze the scepter, which, after analyzing it for a little bit, Stark brings up, like, hey, we could like, maybe do, like, AI with this. And Banner's like, well, I don't know. And he's like, no. This is, like, Ultron is a reality.
And you get the name drop there, and the whole idea of Ultron is apparently he wants something to replace the Avengers.
Essentially a global protector. But, like, a global protector who's sentient.
Yeah, so someone who's going to stop the threat before it materializes.
Right.
And that's the whole point. He tries to sell it on Banner, like, imagine if you were on a beach getting brown instead of green.
Mm-hmm.
Because
you don't have to worry about... little foreshadowing. You don't have to worry about Veronica over your shoulder.
Yeah, and they do mention that. So this is something that Tony Stark's been playing for a while, which obviously, again, ties in well with what he's been talking about in 3 and this movie, the PTSD that he's been dealing with. And I do like that they compare the Mind Stone to neurons firing.
Right.
They say it's like a... when Jarvis analyzes it, says, is it like a reactor? He says, no, it's like a computer. Which, when you think it's a Mind Stone, that makes a lot of sense.
And they kind of get to analyzing it, and Hawkeye, we meet the doctor, I forget her name.
Yeah.
She's from
South Korea.
Yeah, she's from Seoul.
Hey, Seoul getting 2 references in the MCU now.
Yeah, what up? And she can, like, essentially print matter, like, biomatter, and, like, heal people. And we get mention of the cradle. There's a lot of foreshadowing in this scene.
Yeah, there's a lot of foreshadowing in the whole movie, really.
Yeah.
Trying to build up on that. But they're healing Hawkeye and says, if you come to the cradle, you'll be healed in 20 minutes.
Yeah. And then we get... Well, Tony and Banner aren't telling the team about the AI thing. And they're kind of like, all right, Jarvis, just run these. We're going to go have our party.
And they're on test 77, which I didn't look at the significance of it, but it does say on the screen, test 77, there is a match.
Usually with numbers like that, it usually means...
It's got to be like the comic issue that he came up in or something.
Like the year it premiered. Like War Machine Rocks 84.
Yeah. It's got to be something like that. But what do you think about the scene when they actually show Ultron in the internet and they use the blocks?
I don't know, that was kind of cool.
It was a little Tron-y.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
I do like, excuse me, like I said, I'm a little sick today. They show Ultron and he has no idea. He says it feels weird to not have a body because he is born in the internet. Yeah,
and he's a true AI. He is artificial intelligence.
And as Jarvis is trying to talk to him and explain what's going on, he's going through all these records and realizing the world he's been born into.
Right.
Which is a violent world.
Mm-hmm.
He goes through all the Avengers records, all the SHIELD records, all this, and he says, "Oh no, like this is not good at all."
Yeah.
Which is it's kind of interesting because you think from an AI standpoint, like people are. If we're going to go philosophical a little bit here, a little philosophical talk for our listeners here, that people are rational,
right?
And the whole plan is for him to save the world. He's like, well, I can't save the world if people are going to be irrational.
Right.
Which is like what a robot would think, which makes a lot of sense. And he actually ends up attacking and air quotes destroying Jarvis.
Right. And then at the end of the Avengers party, which has some good scenes, you get Banner and Romanoff kind of flirting. You get War Machine totally getting...
We got to talk... Two things I want to point out about the party. One, I do love that Falcon is there.
Yes. And
connects it to the Winter Soldier because he is still looking for Bucky, which is amazing. I love... It is a 30-second scene that I love in this movie. I still remember that scene because I was like, oh, good, they're connecting stuff now. Because it would make sense. Like, Cap should be looking for him. But he said, no, I got to do this. You're going to do that. So I love that. And then we'll talk about the Lee cameo. Little Lee cameo.
Yeah. It's a bit of a build up to a Lee cameo.
All right, build it up. Build it up.
So you get Thor, and he's got this really decorative flask, and he's pouring a little bit for Cap, and they're hanging out with a bunch.
But
of...
remember, from the first one, Cap can't get drunk.
Cap can't get drunk, but this is some good stuff.
How long was it each?
I believe it was 1,000 years.
1,000 years.
Made of flasks from Bjorn's fleet. Or casks. Anyway, and he's hanging out with these World War II vets, and they're like, "Oh, I want some of that," and he's like, "Oh no, this was not made for mortal men." He's like, "Neither was the beaches of Omaha, but I'll."
And who's saying that?
It was Stan Lee.
Stan Lee, who apparently has now been on Omaha Beach.
Yeah. And he's like, "Give it here." So he pours him a shot. And then hard cut to Stan Lee being dragged away by two people just going, "Excelsior."
And I point out, we rewatched this scene.
We did.
There's a dude, watch this scene. There's a dude on the right-hand side that literally is not moving. He's standing holding a cup. That man died drinking this.
He died and rigor mortis set in like that.
We cut back again to see it's just the Avengers hanging out. They're testing to see if they're going to be worthy. It's a cool scene.
Right. Which is funny because it's just Thor bragging.
It's just Thor being a dick. And they're trying to lift the hammer. None of them can do it. Cap does wiggle it.
Cap wiggles it, and Thor's face just goes from like smile to like, oh.
It's literally like, oh.
He's like, oh wait.
Like all the blood rushed out of his face.
Yeah, and then he couldn't lift it. He's like, that's nothing. It was nothing.
And this is when we finally get the Ultron reveal.
Which is like, kind of, you start to get like, oh, maybe they are going dark. Because this is kind of a creepy scene.
And again, the tone of this movie jumps around way too much for me.
Like, this mangled, destroyed robot just comes, like, limping out.
With James Spader's voice, who has an amazing voice in this movie.
And just is, like, comes out and says this whole, like, monologue about how they can't save the world. Like, they are the problem and stuff like that. And then just sends, like, 4 robots at him.
Which I think is a little bit of an error, in my opinion, that... The Avengers, I know they're not prepared, I know they're at a party, but they're struggling really hard against these 4 robots. Which later, excuse me, later in the movie, they're like taking down robots left and right like it's
Here's why I find it hard to believe that Tony Stark does not have an Iron Man suit in his own tower within, like, I'll say 50 feet of him at all times.
You just think he has little cubbies full of Iron Man suits?
Have you seen Avengers where how he gets, like, out of one?
Yeah.
He absolutely has little cubbies with Iron Man suits.
Actually, you're probably right.
Like, he should have just been like, oh, I need gloves, and, like, they come out of the ceiling. And I would have been like, no, that makes sense. No suspicion.
If he just reached up and hands and, like, feet clamped on, but no other part of the suit, that actually would have been really cool.
Yeah, I would have been like...
what they did in Iron Man 3.
Yeah, I would have been like, that makes sense. He would totally do that.
Yeah, that's true. They do blow up the robots, but Ultron has connected to the internet, and he's everywhere.
He's out.
He's out. He's in Sokovia. He's out in Sokovia, man.
Yeah, he goes to the place they busted, and he starts working there, making bodies. And then they kind of get cat's out of the bag. Stark messed up. So
yeah, Thor tries to choke him out.
Yeah. Awkward moment.
We get some reveals. They're doing some investigation. They realize that all their files on random Hydra agent number 8 has been deleted.
Yeah.
So they have to go paper trail. They find a couple things out. Is this where we get the?
Wakanada?
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 No, I love it. They go through and they find Claw. Like, oh, and Stark's like, oh, I know this guy. He's a Black Arms dealer. And then Cap gives him this great, like, dude, look. And he's like, there are conventions. I trade business cards. I never worked with the guy.
But, and then Brandon says, Wakanda?
Oh, yeah. They see a brand on his neck. And it's like, oh, it's a tattoo. He's like, oh, no, it's actually, like, he's looking on the computer. It's like, it's African dialect. He's like, what dialect? He's like, what Wakanada? What Wakanda?
And the best part is Tony looks straight at Cap, says, I thought you said we had it all.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And that's when we get our first Wakanda reference, that they have the vibranium.
And And we go to... I'm sure there's probably a scene of Ultron talking to the twins.
Yeah, that's the scene where Ultron's talking to the twins and recruiting them, which is whatever.
We don't care enough about them yet.
Yeah, and the only thing I have in that note is there's forced humor.
Yeah.
People produce little people. What are they called? Oh, babies.
Yeah, it's like...
And again, that's just... Don't do that when you've already established that he's this creepy villain. You have James Spader. Don't have him make jokes.
It set up to be a really good speech about, like, how people always create what they hate. Like, people of peace always make war machines. And people of, you know...
Which is, oh my god, look, what did Tony Stark do?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes so much sense, but they just, again, they blow it with this forced humor, I think.
Yeah, and so they're kind of recruited to their cause. And then we go to...
We're in African coast, that's all it said. I think it's Johannesburg, I think it's in South Africa.
Yeah.
But it just says African coast, where Ultron is meeting Claw with the twins to get the vibranium.
Which is kind of a cool scene. I like, you argued it because the gun didn't make noise, but they go to hold up Claw, who's running this whole operation, and Claw pulls a gun and is like tries to shoot at whoever's outside of his door, and then Quicksilver, you see like the blur, and then the gun is on the counter, clip out, and bullets lined up.
But the gun made a bang sound.
The gun did make a bang sound.
Okay, so, as long as we're clear on that.
Absolutely.
And
you know what's weird? I never connected that when I've seen this movie before. I was never like, that gun shot. I was just like, oh, he unloaded the gun.
And I love the best part is Claw realizes this and he's like, candy?
Yeah. Hey,
which again, why did they have to kill him off? He's so good.
Don't bang the table with the mic on it.
That's my fault, people. I'm sorry. I got very animated
Claw
there.
is a very good villain. I like him a lot. And we kind of get Claw like totally reverse intimidating them. Because he's like, okay, if you're here and you're threatening me and you actually do something to hurt me, I know you're not in charge. I know that there's someone else in charge. I know the other person in charge. Oh, also there's a really funny scene about cuttlefish.
Oh, he's terrified of cuttlefish.
Yeah.
They have
like, he's like, I'm not scared. Like, say something about not being scared of anything. And he's like, and Scarlet Witch says like, everybody has fears. And he's like, cuttlefish. They hypnotize the prey and then eat them. And it's totally like a, what is this dude moment?
Mm-hmm.
But then Ultron comes up and totally like drops him out a window.
Well, no, there's a couple things. He's saying, I'm taking your vibranium. Claw says, this is worth billions of dollars. He's like, and now so are you, because apparently Ultron can hack any bank in the world now.
When you're connected to the internet and an AI, heck yeah.
Yeah, and Claw gets all this money, and Ultron drops the line, make your enemies rich and your friends rich and see which one's truly which or something like that. And Claw like says like, Tony Stark told me that. Like he makes that connection instantly.
Yeah, he's like, you're one of Tony Stark's. And then he gets mad.
Ultron gets mad because he hates that he's being compared to Tony Stark. And
it's like when you tell someone they're just like their dad. And it's like, oh.
I hate it when people do that.
That's the worst.
And then he cuts a dude's arm off.
Yeah. He just like straight up is like, Kring!
And then, again, forced humor. He tries to apologize.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
It's not that bad. And,
yeah.
While he's doing that...
I mean, yeah.
Okay, you want to talk?
I just feel like I kind of get... when I was watching the movie, I remember thinking this. I was like, no, that makes sense because Tony made it, right? Like, I was like, I could see him being snarky. But, like, you know, I don't know. Watching it a second time...
Tony didn't make it. Jarvis made it, really.
Kinda, yeah.
Which I guess you could argue Tony made Jarvis. And
Jarvis is on the record of being snarky.
But the internet kind of made Ultron.
No, internet's pretty snarky.
Oh,
Ultron should have just spoken in memes.
Shut up. Shut up now. The Avengers...
Can I has vibranium?
The Avengers come to confront them. There's some retorts going back and forth. And then there's a fight scene. We kind of see... Ultron's powers. We see the Maximoff twins' powers. There's that scene where he I don't even remember what's the guy's name. Quicksilver. I'm sorry, I blanked there for a second.
Yeah, I was really confused for who you were talking about there.
Quicksilver tries to grab Mjolnir as he's throwing it.
That's pretty good. Because like everything's slow mo,
and he's like, "Oh, hammer! I can grab that!" And then goes flying the other way. While they're doing that, Scarlet Witch is brainwashing all the Avengers and kind of giving them their fears, their worst case scenarios things. You get some cool shots there. The one I really want to focus on is Thor's, though. Because I think that's the only one that really ties into a future movie.
Right.
Because what I really want to do, I'm not going to really comment a ton on it now, but what I really want to do is I'm going to watch Thor's vision scene here right before we rewatch Ragnarok.
Okay.
Because I think there's going to be a lot of connections there. Because I truly think that was the build up there.
Okay.
I mean, you get a little bit of Black Widow backstory.
Yeah.
The Cap one's whatever. I think that's kind of a wasted one, except that you get Agent Carter back for a brief second.
Hey, she got that paycheck.
She got that paycheck. She got that Marvel money.
That Marvel money. Yeah. I was kind of interested in Black Widows just because it was like, oh, so this is kind of where she came from.
I mean, yeah, it's good backstory, but it doesn't really build on the future story.
No.
As much as I think the Thor one does, and that's why I really want to rewatch it.
We did get a really cool scene where she's trying to sneak up on Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, Hawkeye's rational man with a bow.
And Hawkeye just pulls out like a taser arrow and sticks it on her forehead.
Taser face.
Oh my gosh, he made taser face.
What
if he made that joke? What if he said, ha, taser face? And then like they made it in Guardians and they didn't even think that it connected like that?
But it did. Because we're smart.
Yeah, we are. And so he stuck the arrow right on her head and like she just passed out. He's like, yeah, did the whole mind control thing once. Not a fan. Oh, Hawkeye's really good in this movie.
Hawkeye has so many good lines. It's gonna be a shame.
No, don't you dare go there.
I'll go at the end of the video. So then we get that Scarlet Witch has been tasered. She's like dazed and confused, and he says, "Do you want to stop?" She says, "No, I need the big one." And off screen, she mind controls the Hulk to Bruce Banner freaking out, and now he's going to Johannesburg.
And now we're going to see, like, the best scene in the movie, probably.
So I said it during the movie, I think this is the only reason to rewatch Age of Ultron. I think this movie's pretty forgettable.
Yeah.
But you get the Hulkbuster, Operation Veronica.
So, like, it's really cool because Hulk's going towards town and Iron Man's like, all right, I got to handle this. And he's like, is there any backup? And Hawkeye's like, yeah, everyone's pretty much down, so it's up to you. He's like, all right, I'm calling Veronica. And then, like, from space, from a satellite, this pod gets released.
And at first you think Veronica's just this, like cage for the Hulk. They just shock him and then they lock him in. The Hulk breaks out of it easily, and you're like, oh man, what's this Veronica thing? But as he's doing that, Iron Man is donning the Hulkbuster.
A suit over the suit in the most Gurren Lagann style possible.
I don't know what that is.
It's an anime. It's great. Oh. Mechs and mechs.
Okay, sure.
I'll show you a scene from it. It's pretty good. So the Hulkbuster, which it's called the Hulkbuster, it's not called Veronica. I think the only reason they called it Veronica is because if they said Hulkbuster, the hype would have been like blown right away.
Mm-hmm. So, even though he uses it in the ads.
Does he?
Oh, this is in the trailers.
Did they call it Veronica?
No, there's a scene of Iron Man donning this.
Okay. Well, I think when they talk about Veronica, it's not known until. So, and you just get this sweet fight between the Hulkbuster armor and the Hulk.
And I like the one part you pointed out that you really liked is there's something floating in the city. It's not a satellite, but something floating.
It's like the pod, essentially.
That every time a part is super damaged by the Hulk, it just shoots that part out to refix it. Which
is like, yeah, you would need that fighting the Hulk.
You need 7 arms to fight the Hulk.
It's pretty good.
And you see all the different tools that Tony and also Bruce Banner mentions he helped build this.
Right.
So they bring up all the different tools they have. And it's a really good fight scene. And like I said, this is probably the reason I would rewatch this movie again.
I mean, there's a great scene with the piston arm.
Go sleep, go sleep, go sleep, go sleep, go sleep.
Good. And then there's like, the repaired arm has like a cage on it. And like when the Hulk grabs that arm, the arm just like recedes in and like locks the Hulk's arm in. Mm-hmm. It's like pretty cool. There's a great part where like Tony punches the Hulk and he spits a tooth out and he says, I'm sorry. And totally gets clocked by the Hulk.
Yeah. It ends with Tony taking the Hulk straight through a building, a big skyscraper that's being constructed.
Yeah.
The Hulk, excuse me, the Hulk comes out of it, sees all this destruction he's causing, is kind of like dazed and confused, and then you just get the Hulkbuster punch him in the side.
Sucker punch from the side.
Excuse me.
Yeah, that's a really good. I would probably just watch that scene on YouTube again.
Yeah, that's probably what all you should do, really. We cut away. They're flying away. they've been defeated. Ultron's escaped. He has the vibranium. And Hawkeye always says is they're going to a safe house.
And then they show up at Hawkeye's house.
Which is probably where Thanos is landing in Infinity
War. So you keep saying this. You keep saying, we're going to cut away. We're going to take a pause here. You keep saying Hawkeye's seen as Ronan, and Ronan's family dies, and that if this lovely American family, who I'm not going to say an area because it's not specified.
Iowa.
Is it Iowa?
I don't know. I'm going to say it's Iowa.
This lovely Iowan family gets demolished in Infinity War and sends such a lovable character like Hawkeye down a spiral. I am going to make a loud expletive in the middle of the theater that I hope you hear.
I'm telling you right now, there's been shots of Hawkeye as Ronan in this movie. The comic story from what I've read on Wikipedia is when people kill Hawkeye's family, he turns into Ronan.
What is the change though? He doesn't care anymore? He becomes like...
Oh yeah, he's reckless and...
He's like an anti-hero sort of deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm telling you, Thanos is landing in Iowa. Calling it. Just
from the trailers, we would think New York, but okay.
No, Iowa. It's actually Iowa.
Dude, if Hawkeye goes Ronan in this and his family dies, I'm gonna be so mad.
You're going to yell things in a theater that might get you kicked out.
A sharp, punctuated expletive
that we have talked about in the movie, but we will not say in case children are listening to this. We do cut away. We meet Hawkeye's family, which he's joked the whole movie. He's like, well, I don't have a girlfriend.
Yeah. Because he has a pregnant wife!
With 2 kids.
Yeah. Thor steps on a house.
Thor, yeah.
We made a joke. I'm going to bring this up. We made a really funny joke. Where, like, this little girl goes up to Thor and just, like, looks up at him. I was like, what if you just drop the hammer on her right there? Just hold this hammer, young child. Like, oh. Okay.
Human pudding.
Human pudding, instantly.
But I do like the house he steps on. It just plays off what Thor just saw. They say he's a destroyer. And the first thing he does in this house is destroy a Lego house.
Yeah, he sweeps it under a chair.
So we kind of have them kind of recovering. We get that iconic scene of them chopping wood.
Good.
And they're talking about safety and what to do. And then Cap just rips a log in half.
Tony says, like, yeah, I don't trust people without dark side. He's like, maybe I haven't seen it yet. And he says something to set Cap off. And without even cutting this piece of wood, he just rips it in half.
It's amazing.
Oh, man. It's like, why weren't you just doing that from the start?
Yeah, he could probably rip it faster than he cut it. Just
and then Tony goes to Tony's asked to go to the barn to, like, look at their tractor. But it's all a ploy because who was in the barn other than Old Man Jackson? Old Man Fury.
And you want to point out the eye patch error.
Consistency issue. He burned his eye patch, yet he wears the eye patch again.
Yeah, because you can't buy an eye patch.
Nope, not like that. I want the blind man glasses.
So he comes out in the eye patch. We find that Fury is still alive and somewhat functioning, though he doesn't have any real job anymore.
Yeah, Homeless Man Fury.
Yeah,
wears an eye patch.
The most exciting Fury, Homeless Man Fury.
I got nothing left to lose. And he kind of gives him this whole pep talk of, like, I used to have eyes and ears, and now all I got is you. And we're a team, and, like, you got to do this together, and blah, 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 blah. And they kind of catch on to Ultron's plans.
Yeah, they actually find out that he is in South Korea. He's in this cradle with the scientist, and he's trying to mold the bioorganic. Is that what it was? Yeah, no one knows bioorganics like you. Bioorganic. He's trying to make a better version of himself.
Essentially an android made of vibranium.
Yeah, that's basically what they're making, and they find that vibranium binds very well with organic matter because vibranium magic.
Yep.
And they're going to make what we know as the Vision.
Odin enchanted vibranium pin particles.
What can Thanos do against that?
What can Thanos do? Everyone meets up. If we just enchant this vibranium and use it with pin particles.
There's nothing Thanos can do. It's literally indestructible.
It's plot armor of the worst degree.
So they're now making their next attack. They're in South Korea to try and stop Ultron from making this, which again I think is a huge jump to know all this, but
yeah, and Ultron. Important to note, Ultron uses the scepter to like brainwash the lady, the doctor.
Yeah, again, so another continuality. You're using the scepter to brainwash
and
someone.
then breaks the gem of the scepter to reveal a smaller gem, a smaller yellow gem that is the Mind Stone.
Yeah, so I don't think Ultron knows what it is.
Right.
Thor knows what it is because he goes to a hot tub with Selvig and figures it out.
Yeah, and I'm sure the pool is like related to endorsement.
That was I honestly feel like that was
not clear.
It was ham-fisted in.
Yeah, I was like, oh, maybe we should have someone who knows this.
Also, I pointed out the fact that how did Selvig get this job?
After he was naked?
After he was naked at Stonehenge, how does he get a job at London University or wherever it is?
Oh.
Okay. But yeah, he sees his vision and he sees that it's an Infinity Stone, so that kind of motivates him to like support this.
Right.
Which comes into play later.
So there's this great action scene where they show up to interrupt him. Ultron's like mid-uploading himself into this body.
But he doesn't finish.
No. And Ultron's trying to get the cradle away so he can finish uploading. And they're trying to get the cradle so they can get the body.
We get a glorified chase scene. That's basically what it is.
What it is.
It's Captain America fighting Ultron on top of a truck. I mean, he does okay considering...
the twins switch sides.
The twins switch sides because they realize that Ultron's plan is he wants to eliminate humans.
Right.
He doesn't want to just eliminate the Avengers. He wants to eliminate humans.
Right.
Because he says they're the problem. And he makes this whole scene that there was 13 extinction level events before the dinosaurs... And God's just winding up now to take him out, so why don't we just help him out or something like along those lines. So there's some foreshadowing there. Yeah, they switch sides. They help Cap out. They stop a train because, again, we don't understand Scarlet Witch's powers at all.
Right.
She can put the brakes on a train. You said it reminds you a lot of Spider-Man 2?
Yeah. I mean, like, Spider-Man 2, I might not like the actor, but Spider-Man 2 is a pretty good film from what I remember.
I don't know what actor you're talking about. You're talking about the guy who plays Doc Ock?
No, I'm not.
You're talking about, like, Aunt May, maybe? Mary Jane?
Well, Aunt May's not as hot as current Aunt May. But...
yeah, but I mean, like, that's the best Spider-Man.
No.
Tobey Maguire.
No, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the Spider-Man Chronicles later.
Is that what we're doing after this? Side note?
That might be.
All right, okay.
So...
We'll go back now.
Yeah, it was a runaway train, and this is where her powers start to get confusing. Because the whole movie up to this point is like, oh yeah, she can do mental stuff. Like, she messes with people's minds. And now it's like, no, I can bend bars, I can stop trains. Like, it's, where's the line with her powers? And, like, Scarlet Witch in the comics is very much like, there is no line with her powers. But this is like, I don't know, they set up a line and then they don't obey it.
Yeah, while they're doing that, Black Widow, excuse me, is getting the cradle from Ultron, who has robots with jaw rockets.
Yeah, Transformers.
Yeah, launching this big rig into the sky, but Black Widow's able to get the cradle, put it in the Quinjet, but she is captured by Ultron before she can get into the Quinjet.
Yes. So they have the cradle, they have the body. They go back to Avengers Tower.
And listen, before we go there, there's a big scene because Hawkeye keeps saying, "Where's Romanoff?"
Yeah.
And Cap, in his standpoint that the mission's more important, just says, "Get it out of here." Which again, I think is a little out of place considering what we saw between Romanoff and Cap in The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But maybe in the heat of the moment he goes there. So I'm willing to give that a pass. But I do want to point that out.
He's a soldier, so
I just want to point that out that with what happened after Winter Soldier, I feel like it's weird he's just willing to say, nope, don't care, get that out of here. Okay, but now we'll go to Avengers Tower.
So they're in Avengers Tower. And Stark and Banner are there with the pod thing. They're like, all right, yep, we got to destroy this. And Banner's like, you handle the, like, breaking down the software, I'll handle breaking down the material, and Stark's just like, so about that, and Banner's like, no, and he's like, but I can like do it right this time. He's like, you gotta trust me. And my favorite line from Banner here is like, kinda don't. So
Banner's rational scientist with the Green Man.
Yeah, so essentially like what he's saying is like he pieced together, he found and pieced together Jarvis again, because Jarvis didn't get destroyed by Ultron. He scattered himself and kept the nuclear codes and stuff safe from Ultron. So you piece together Jarvis again, and they're like, look, we can put Jarvis inside. He's not an AI. Like, he's rational. He has these protocols and stuff. And Banner's like, I don't know. Like,
I'm in a loop.
Yeah.
I just did this.
And then Jarvis is like, I think it's worth a shot. And so they start the process. There's this whole scene between Captain and the Maximoff twins, and Scarlet Witch is just like, well, you know, he's like, no, we can trust Stark. And she's like, no, you can't. I've seen his fear. It'll drive him to do whatever it takes. And that's when Cap's like, yeah, I gotta go check on Stark.
Mm-hmm.
So Cap shows up there. Cap and the Maximoff twins show up there. And it's this really good, like, standoff of, like, the Maximoff twins are like, no, you can't do that. And then Banner is, like, super scary in the scene because he's, like, looks at the girl and he's like, I don't gotta turn a single shade of green to choke the life out of you. And it's like, oh.
It was like, the most intimidating thing Mark Ruffalo has done in the MCU.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And, like, there's a point where he, like, chokes her out, and he's like, go ahead, get me angry. So, it's pretty serious.
But then, out of nowhere, Thor comes.
Thor comes and says, I'm going to fix this problem, and lightning's the thing. And out comes the Vision.
Yeah. Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
And I love the first thing. He fights Thor for a little bit. He looks at Thor then, and the first thing he says is, I need a cape.
Yeah. Which, I point out that with the Mind Stone, he's not making clothes, he's just making everyone see he has clothes.
Maybe.
Like, that's absolutely my headcanon, is he's just making everyone perceive.
So you think he's just, like, naked, just running around?
I think, in reality, if you could, like, true sight that without, like, being, like...
I love how you made binoculars with your hands while doing that.
True sight that, and, like, not get, like, tricked by the Mind Stone. He is absolutely just naked.
But the Vision kind of says, like, he's neither good nor bad. He's neutral.
He's on the side of life.
He's on the side of life. He's like, life's good. Let's keep that going.
So, and they're like, oh, we can't trust you. And then he picks up the hammer.
And he picks up the hammer, and I was like, all right, fine. We're going to go with this now.
I guess we're letting a tool decide our character judgments.
And we find out that the plan is Sokovia.
Oh, he has the Mind Stone, by the way. Did we mention that?
Yeah, the Mind Stone's in his forehead, which means he's probably going to die in Infinity War.
He's the most powerful Avenger on the team right now.
I want to debate that maybe maybe Thor is now.
After Ragnarok?
After Ragnarok. It's going to be, it'd be good.
I don't think he can compete with Infinity Stone.
It would be a good fight.
It would be a good fight.
Well, maybe we'll see it.
Maybe.
Probably not.
So, they kind of set off to Sokovia to fight
Ultron.
Yeah.
And Ultron has used the vibranium to make a vibranium core that goes through the city of Sokovia.
Yes.
And his plan is he's going to hurl the rock that's going to exterminate mankind.
Yeah, so he's going to lift up a chunk of Sokovia.
No, not the chunk. He's lifting up the city of Sokovia.
And most of the city.
Just say the city.
Alright, fine, the city. He's lifting up the city, and he's going to lift that up and then thrust it down into the earth and create an extinction level event.
Yes. And now it's up to the Avengers to save the city. First evacuate the city, and then save the city.
Save the world.
Save the world, really. Because the idea is the higher it goes, the higher the death rate goes.
Right.
Because if they drop it within 1,000 feet, hundreds of thousands of people are going to die. If they drop it from a mile, billions of people are going to die. So it's how fast can they get this done?
So they're fighting off hordes of mini Ultrons.
Which, again, I bring back the fact they struggled so hard against 4 of them earlier.
Now they have the Mind Stone.
Oh, yeah, Mind Stone magic.
Infinity Stones.
Infinity Stones.
If you have an Infinity Stone, you win.
You know what? You're not wrong.
So, Infinity War is going to be the end of the MCU. Thanos is going to have all the Infinity Stones. You can't beat him. Better get working on those vibranium-enhanced, Odin-enchanted pin particles.
That's what can beat him, though. It's stronger than Infinity Stones.
Little did you know about our plot armor Megazord.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
That'd be so good. So the fight begins. The Banner rescues Romanoff, and there's this whole sort of.
What do you think about the romance in this movie between the two?
I don't mind it.
I just think it's kind of forced. Like,
I didn't feel that.
I guess if I'm looking at the whole MCU, there's nothing in the first movie that suggests this.
No, but I kind of like the characters of, like, you know, the timid scientist gone rage monster and the killer's kind of tired of killing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you look at it that way, it makes sense. But, the last thing we're coming off is the Winter Soldier, where she's flirting hardcore with Cap.
Well, she's just kind of a flirt.
Yeah.
So,
Floozy.
So she, like, there's a kiss, and then she pushes him down a hole to turn Hulk. And, he turns Hulk. And they get to fighting.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't like describing the action scenes. Go watch it yourself if you want to see it. But there's a lot of good action scenes.
There's a lot of good action. There's a lot of good character moments. There's a really good moment with Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, we can talk about that scene where Scarlet Witch is scared to use her powers. She's like terrified of what's going on. Hawkeye basically has his one-on-ones like, yo, I'm just a dude that can shoot arrows.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna go kill because that's my job.
Yeah.
And if you want to stay here, that's fine. But if you come out the door, you know your job is to kill.
Yeah, he essentially says, if you walk out that door, you're an Avenger.
That's a good scene.
That's a great line.
And, I mean, Hawkeye does so good in this movie.
He's really... It makes me mad that they didn't use that more in the first one.
And it makes me mad they're not going to use him in Infinity War.
Stop.
Because he's going to be...
Stop. So, Hawkeye has this great scene with that. There's this really funny scene where, like, Quicksilver runs by him and he just points the bow and he's like, I could do it. No one would know. He's like, well, Ultron was fighting him. I thought he had it.
Yeah, there's a scene, because the whole thing is, like, Hawkeye's been one-upped by Quicksilver the entire movie. Which, again, foreshadowing to the end of it. As it gets higher and higher, they're getting people off the boats. They eventually get everyone off.
Oh, a helicarrier shows up.
Oh, I guess we should talk. Yeah, the helicarrier shows up. Where did that come from?
Oh, he said he got out of, like, storage or something.
Where do you store a helicarrier?
I don't know.
Deadpool?
No, that one's crashed.
Deadpool?
Yep, Deadpool. So, helicarrier shows up. Fury kind of saves the day.
War Machine saves the day. War Machine's in this movie for a little bit.
I feel bad for War Machine. War Machine gets, like, one-upped every time.
Yeah, he gets, like, crapped on the entire movie.
For some reason, I thought Falcon showed up in that scene, too.
I wish, because
like,
Falcon's better
than War Machine. I thought it was just, like, the B team kind of does some stuff, but...
Oh, I could go a lot of ways with what B team stands for there.
Oh, no.
I'll let our listeners decide that one.
Send in your comments now. No, don't. So, we get that. There's a great, like, turnaround scene where they're all fighting robots at the core.
And again, that's a good shot. They're all defending the core from the Ultron clones, and you get this scene of them spinning around, which that scene's good, but then they try and do, like, the one-off scenes, you know what I mean? Where it's just the one superhero, and you've got, like, sideways Thor kicking Ultron robot and stuff like that. That's kind of weak. But that scene where they're all there working, it kind of reminds you, it literally looks straight out of a comic book.
It does. And Tony the whole time has been trying to come up with a plan to save everyone. Because it was either we get everyone off and we essentially, like, the only option they could think of was, like, we blow it up in the sky.
Well, I don't think it was even that. The idea was you either kill everyone in the city or you kill everyone on the Earth.
Right. And so it was a numbers game.
The whole argument was like, well, maybe we just don't get out of this one.
Yeah, and that was the whole thing. And Tony comes up with a plan where essentially if you superheat the core...
So he's going to superheat the bottom while Thor hits the top with all his lightning.
Yeah.
That's going to eventually disintegrate the city because science?
Yeah, I'm no bio... What was it?
I'm no bioorganic scientist here.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's the plan, and they fight off Ultron. The Vision fights off Ultron.
Yeah, the Vision, like, is using Mjolnir and is just, like, destroying Ultron because he's the Vision, and he's way better than everyone else, apparently.
Yeah, well, Infinity Stones. So, the plan works. They get off. Vision has this confrontation with the last Ultron bot, and it's a nice scene of, like...
They do disintegrate the city, so it doesn't kill everyone. It lands in a lake or something.
And... So Ultron and Vision have this confrontation where it's just like, why did you side with them? And he's like, they might be irrational and they might not make sense, but it's kind of beautiful. He's like, but they're gonna kill themselves. He's like, things aren't beautiful because they last.
Yeah, it's kind of this deep moment, and he even says like, "You're naive," and Vision says, "Well, I was born yesterday." Yeah. So it's kind of this idea that like he says, you know, it's okay if everyone fails or screws up. That's what life is.
Yeah, and there another line I like is he's like he traded out what did he say? He traded something out for a slave. He like traded like a monster out for a slave or something. He's like, well, I guess we're both disappointments.
Yeah,
and it's very like Vision's very much like this is just kind of how it's going. Like,
yeah, I mean, you're not winning here. It's over, and again, I just feel like Ultron. He looks so menacing in all the marketing, and looked like he was going to be this really memorable character.
I think everyone was like, well, someone did die, but I think everyone was like, someone's going to die in this movie.
I guess we should talk about the fact that
well, hey, look, I'm just glad they finally armed Hawkeye. He had the bow, and they were like, he needs more protection. We'll give him a shield. You know, Cap's shield is made out of vibranium, and they don't have a lot of it, so they had to make it out of Quicksilver.
You've been waiting
an
hour and 24 seconds to use that, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. I've been formulating that for a while now.
So, Quicksilver does die in this movie, which, again, I think goes back to the backdoor deal that Marvel and Fox
You can use it, like, Fox is like, you can use them for one movie.
I think they both said, we're going to use it, and whoever uses it best wins. And literally without fighting, Marvel said, all right, Fox wins.
Marvel watched Days of Future Past and then went and watched their cut of Avengers. It's like, okay, we still got a couple scenes to shoot. We got to kill him. He's out. He's out.
He done. But he saves Hawkeye, which again goes to the foreshadowing the whole time.
Yeah.
And then, what? You didn't see that coming?
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
Again, there's no development really to that character to make me care about it.
By the end of it, I care more for Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, I think that's the point.
She has this whole moment of like, I guess, I don't know, she has mind powers. We're gonna say they're psychically linked. Where he dies and she just goes like ballistic and like vaporizes, which again, really need a boundary on her powers here. She vaporizes like 10 robots.
Yeah, I still have no idea what she actually does.
Like, if it was like, again, if it was like, oh, we had a piece of the Aether, that would make way more sense for her.
Thank you. That's what it said.
It just, so...
Alright, let's just wrap this up. Ultron's dead. The city's blown up.
Stinger.
Well, I'm getting there.
Okay.
They go back. They're not going to use Stark Tower or Avengers Tower anymore. They have the upstate New York thing.
Yeah.
Tony's retired. Thor goes back because he says 4 Infinity Stones have been activated now. And I need to figure out what's going on.
It's not a coincidence.
So he's going to figure out. He's gone. Hulk is in space because reasons.
Yep.
I think it was just... I think they really want to set Ragnarok up.
Planet Hulk.
That's what Ragnarok was.
Hulk.
That's what Ragnarok.
I know, it's good.
Oh yeah, now that you saw it, it's good?
Yeah.
Really? You want to say it now?
Yeah, I do. I never said it was bad. I said I just didn't see it.
Hulk's in space. Thor's gone. Iron Man's out of the picture apparently. So really we have we have Black Widow and we have Cap.
As the senior Avenger.
As the really only surviving original Avenger. Hawkeye's retired to his family in Iowa.
Yeah.
Till something happens.
So Thor's not necessarily retired. He's just kind of like, I got some other stuff to do right now.
But it's not like you can call back Thor easily.
No, yeah. It's not like Thor's on call.
Yeah, Thor's not on call.
So it's the oldies to train the B team.
I tell you, the B team's got some heavy hitters though.
B team does have some heavy hitters, but so did the original.
Vision and Quicksilver might be the two strongest.
Quicksilver?
I'm sorry, Vision and Scarlet.
No, I agree. Quicksilver is pretty good. He fought those bullets off real well.
I hate you so much. Why am I doing this? Is the last podcast. We're done after this. Vision and Scarlet Witch might be stronger than
Iron Man and Falcon. Okay, I messed up now too.
Okay, we're good now?
It's even. The scales are balanced. War Machine and Falcon. But, like, here's the thing.
Well, no, but I'm saying Scarlet Witch and Vision might be stronger than the Hulk and Thor.
Yeah, probably.
So it's not like they're the B... You keep saying the B team. I'd say...
The B team, because they're, like, not... It's not like when... Like, they're not the one with the merchandise.
The new Avengers.
The B team.
Okay,
so,
whatever.
I don't know. I mean, look at the first Avengers. You got Thor and Hulk are the heavy hitters. So you got... I'll say Falcon as the Iron Man... Well, no. War Machine is the Iron Man equivalent. That was dumb.
Falcon's like the Hawkeye, which is an upgrade over Hawkeye. As much as
He's more bird-like.
I'm coughing up a lung.
Got him that one. Got him.
All right, I'm good now.
You got what? Scarlet Witch.
Oh, so much spikes just happened.
Scarlet Witch is like the Thor equivalent, and Vision has to be the Hulk equivalent.
Yeah.
So.
And then we end with that iconic scene, Avengers.
I really wanted the stinger just to be like, Semble!
And
Yes!
you just missed the A?
Yeah. Just Avengers, then all the credits, then Semble! And everyone's like, wow, that worked out really well. It's like, yeah, I like that.
But let's talk about the stinger, because it is a little interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I actually forgot this was the stinger for this movie.
Right.
I knew it was a stinger. I didn't realize it was for this movie. You get a empty Infinity Gauntlet.
Yes.
And Thanos reaching in saying, fine, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, which still takes him like 5 movies to do it himself, but you know.
And he doesn't even do it himself by the time of Infinity War, for all we know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and so that was Age of Ultron.
It's one of those movies. This is probably one of my least rewatched MCU movies.
I wouldn't watch it if it was on TV.
I don't think.
I wouldn't avoid it, but if it was like, oh, here's a show I'm mildly interested in, and here's Avengers: Age of Ultron, I'm probably watching the show I'm mildly
I feel like
interested in.
we might be giving away our scores a little bit.
I'm just giving an overview.
Yeah, I mean, I think this movie, it definitely doesn't live up to the previous hypes.
No.
It doesn't even live up to previous movies, I think. I think it was just, this is an example of a movie that gets so overhyped and then goes so many different directions that it can't work well. So let's go over the shield scale.
Okay.
So we've been doing the shield scale now for, I don't know, a lot of weeks.
I think this is episode 13.
Oh my gosh, we made it 13 weeks?
Yeah, I think.
Wow. Mazel tov.
That's like
a
fifth of a year.
That's like 700 in podcast years. Anyway.
Man, there's some really old podcasts that millennia old.
My brother he's doing 400.
Yeah, dude, that's ridiculous.
I'm glad you showed me onto that. That's a great
It's
podcast.
so good.
This
Rooster Teeth podcast is in 400s, I think.
All right, anyway, we're not going to sell all the podcasts unless they pay us.
They're good.
So my brother and me, you owe us money now. Anyway, so we're going to go over the shield scale. We're going to look at the scoundrel. How's the villain portrayed in this movie?
Okay.
How's his motives? How's all that? The heroes in this movie, how's their development? How's their portrayal in this? The integrity. How does this movie hold up in not just the effects, we look at the effects, but also the MCU as a whole, the storytelling in there. Entertainment, how entertained are we in this movie? The Lee cameo. How's Lee doing in this movie? And finally, the development of the MCU as a whole. So let's start with the scoundrel, Ultron, Connor. Lay it on me.
Ultron's interesting. I like him. I do like him as a villain. Because, again, my litmus test for villains is very shallow. Do they think what they're doing is right? Because I feel like so many people mess that up when writing a villain. Like, I hate the villain. It's like, I hate to do this, but it's what I have to do. And I guess that can be done right, but it's like, no, you're not a villain. You're just someone pushed that way. Ultron was like, look, out of the options, the best way to save the world is to kill humans. And that, he was like, no, this is what I have to do. So I like him. He was wasted. There's a lot of forced comedy. I like to try to excuse it with the Stark thing, but after watching it a second time, I can't. It's just, you were right. They had a chance to really market him as a dark villain, and they kind of didn't, so.
So what are you giving it? 0 through 5?
I want to give it, like, it was a good performance. I'll give it 3.
You give it 3?
Begrudging 3.
A begrudging 3. Can I put that in the notes?
Well, I think that'll mess with their calculations, because I don't know how to type begrudging into a calculator, but...
Our scientists worry about that, not us.
With our 70 servers.
There's 70 servers.
B is not a value!
So, I agree with a lot of things you said. I think Ultron's wasted because you highlight him as this dark villain that's going to change everything, but then you force this comedy on him. You try to make him like an anti-Tony Stark.
Yeah.
And I think that was a mistake. Mm-hmm. I think there's some interesting aspects of him. I think his idea of the metaphors he's making are okay, but I just think it's a wasted opportunity, and I hate the fact that he's gone. Like,
yeah,
I would love the fact that if you develop him, like, and he comes back, maybe I say that about a lot of villains. I know. I think it's a recurring theme with me. Yeah. I need to stop that.
I think in the comics he's a pretty regular reoccurring villain.
Yeah, and he's a big threat. And it just sucks that we wasted a great time to use him on this.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna go really low on this. I'm giving him a 2.
Ooh.
Because I just think there was so much wasted potential in him. And I just think and I know we started this episode with that, and that's why I started, because I think the marketing of this movie, I watched a trailer before we watched this movie.
Okay.
Not right before, but I watched it this week, and I just thought, like, this is not the movie that was advertised to me.
Right.
And I think that might be hurting me a little bit.
Right.
But I just feel like you had a great actor in James Spader, the great voice work he had, and we didn't even talk about the fact his mouth's really creepy in this movie.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason I don't like Ultron. Let me change mine to a 2.75. That's part of the reason. You reminded me of the mouth. Part of the reason I don't like Ultron is because, like, he's a robot made of metal. And, like, I'll let Transformers get away with it, but, like, his mouth bends and moves organically, kind of, and I don't like that. I think if you're going to animate it, it should either be, like, clack, 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 like solid metal, or just do, like, the Bender from Futurama vocal lines.
Yeah. So you're taking 0.25 off just for mouth?
Yeah.
Okay, that's your score.
Hey, you took it off because it was advertised poorly.
I mean, that's true. All right, so the heroes, we're looking at the Avengers here. I don't think a lot changed after this movie.
They had better synergy.
You have better synergy, I'll give you that. You get some backstory from them, which is cool. Like, especially Black Widow gets developed. Hawkeye's really cool. So I like that I'm going to call them the B characters.
I mean, they're part of the A-team, but I get you.
They're the support characters.
Yeah.
They're the the medics and the clerics of your team. They're very well developed in this movie, but I think, like, the heavy hitters, Thor's development is just kind of weird, especially with the flashback scene or his scene. Cap gets no development, I don't think, in this movie. Iron Man, very little development, if any. You get a little bit of Hulk development with his, like, personal life, I guess.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was going to go 3. I think I'm going to drop it 2.75. I just don't think there's a ton there.
We're going to differ here.
Okay, go ahead.
I like them a lot better in this movie than I did the first one. I think...
Really?
I did. Like you said, synergy's better.
I'm just going to... Before you go on, I'm going to say we both went 4 on Avengers.
Right. I don't know if I'm going that high. I think that... So, Hawkeye really stole the show for me. I like that they gave him a character, because I feel like we missed him in the first movie. I like we've seen so much of Black Widow being like this, like, she's never shown her true face. And I feel like in this movie, at least we got to see some of it. So I kind of like the emotional standpoint. I mean, you set up for Civil War more with the tension growing between Cap and Iron Man.
What tension? By the end, they're saying, I'm going to miss you, Tony.
Well, and I think by the end of Civil War, even, they're still, like, friends, but... No, you don't think?
I don't think so.
We'll see in Infinity War.
That's going to be different, though. There's a worldwide event. Like, the world's going to end if they don't work together.
I think... Well, here's the thing, though. Okay, we're not in Civil War. I'm not going to discuss that. I'm
going to miss you, Tony, as Tony drives away. Like, that's not telling me
they argue constantly, is my thing. And it was kind of Tony's fault in Captain America.
But who doesn't argue constantly?
Captain America's did not hesitate to blame him. So I think there's some tension built up here. I'm going to give it like 3.25.
All right. I mean, I just don't...
Yeah, no, I'm not going 4. But I really enjoyed it.
Integrity, how this movie holds up. I said there were a couple effects I was kind of meh about. Yeah. But I think for the most part, like, the CGI's done pretty well in here.
Looking at it from that, it's watchable.
It is watchable. Like, there was not one point where I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Everything was good, even 3 years later.
Yeah.
I think the idea of Ultron's good. The idea that he's so rational.
It's kind of timeless to do, like, a rogue AI.
You go a rogue guy that says, like, humans are irrational and I can't deal with this, so I'm going to eliminate them. Like, I think that's good, but there's nothing that really stood out and said, this is amazing.
Right.
So I think this is a 3.25 for me. I think it's right down the middle, maybe even a little bit above, just because CGI does hold up well. But I just feel like it's very meh.
Yeah, I'll share that. I think you're right. I think it's nothing. It wasn't stuff that was. It wasn't like the Avatar of its time. You know, like it wasn't blowing our minds.
Yeah, I mean it was very good for its time.
Yeah.
But it's not. You know, it's not going to win an award for best CGI ever made.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, anything else you want to add about that before we move on?
They learned that if you're going to make a character animated and focus on him, you might as well make him out of metal. Because that's the only thing that's looking good in CG.
I mean, it's true. It's a lot easier to make a metal thing instead of a...
It's a lot easier to make a metal thing
organic. It's true. All right. Yeah, that's true. I'll let you do entertainment. How entertained were you during this movie?
So there was a lot of forced comedy, but like I said, Hawkeye was really good. There were a lot of funny moments. It was a lot of action.
Do you want to talk about do you think there was too much force? Like, compared to Iron Man 3...
I think there were moments... Okay, look.
Iron Man 3 was probably our biggest offender of forced comedy.
Because Iron Man 3 put it in places it didn't need to happen.
So do you think there was worse than Iron Man 3, or do you think it was just... I think it was more than Iron Man 3, but not as bad.
I think if you cut off Claw's arm in the middle of a fight, it would have been worse. Like, you know?
That's basically what they did.
No, they did it before a fight. And it's not like... I mean... You had the dude... I think the worst offender was the dude in the helicarrier making the joke while they were kind of in the climax of the movie.
Yeah.
Of, like, this whole, like... We're evacuating all these citizens, and he's like, "Load those puppies... Get the doggies, those boats are loaded."
That's the dude that says Cap's orders in The Winter Soldier.
Yeah, well...
He didn't get Cap's orders there.
No, we all fall from grace from time to time. So, yeah, I think that kind of ruined it for me. I kind of want to give it like a 2.5.
2.5. I mean, here's the thing. I'm watching the whole movie. I think about the Hulkbuster scene, which I think...
didn't think about that one. Let's focus on all the bad. Wait, bumping up to 3.
You want to bump up to 3? I think about the Hulkbuster scene, and I think that's a really well done scene. I think about the Sokovia scene. There's some okay scenes in there. I think about the opening monologue, or not monologue, but prologue. That's really well done. I get some cool stuff in there. But then I think about the long periods where it's just like, I don't really care. And I mean, you saw this, and it might be because it's Major League Baseball opening day when we're filming this, or recording this.
Yeah.
But I was on the computer a little bit, checking some stuff.
Checking out that O's Reddit?
Checking those O's Reddit. Hey, 3-2, O's win.
I'll take it.
How about them birds?
Birds?
But I mean, like, it wasn't like when I think about a movie that I was really into. Cap 2. There was nothing on this computer that was going to take me away from that screen.
Yeah.
Black Panther. Nothing. That
would have taken me away from that movie screen.
Even Guardians 2.
Guardians 1 and 2.
Guardians 1 and 2. I was focusing on that. This one, I was just like...
I was checking my phone.
I think I'm going to go just 2.75. Just a slightly below what you have, but I think there's a little bit there. All right. Yeah. Do you want me to start with the Lee, or you want to start with the Lee?
Kind of my territory.
All right, I'll let you start with the Lee.
Man, this Lee cameo was good. I think Thor's the lucky charm. Every time Thor's involved, there's a good cameo.
Thor 2 sucked.
No, Thor 2 wasn't bad.
All right, I should say...
That's the one where he asked for the shoe.
Thor 2 is very average.
Yeah, but it wasn't...
Is that good for Lee cameo? It
wasn't Larry King. I keep saying Larry King. What's his name?
No, it's Larry King. It's not Larry David.
Larry David's the one I was confused with. Stop having similar names and looking like old men. So... Oh, got a mid-drink there. So, like... Every time Thor's involved, there's a good cameo. You know? Like, Thor poured in the alcohol. He was there. Like, yeah. I can't... Plus, you finally got, in the MCU, Stan Lee's catchphrase.
Excelsior!
I'll give it a 3.5.
See, you say you're the Lee apologist here. And maybe this is my history love coming in. But I love that the line he says beforehand is, "This isn't meant for mortal men." Well, neither was Omaha Beach. Pour me that stuff.
Did we serve?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But it worked here. And I'm going to lump in here, even if you disagree with me, I'm going to lump in that dude that died.
Okay.
That died right there.
Alright. I'll let it happen because he was in frame.
This is a 4 for me. I love... This is a good Lee cameo. You get drunk Lee serving at Omaha with a dead dude.
Died.
A dude died for this scene.
Like, do you think Tony thought about that? Like, life left a man at my party.
I don't think he cares at all.
Oh, man.
I'm going to give it a 4. I feel like as much as you say you're the Lee expert, I grade this higher than you across the board.
You know, I want to bring something up since we were talking about the party scene. I don't know why Cap even bothers drinking anymore.
I think it's just to fit in.
Doesn't taste good. End of the day.
Beer tastes good.
Doesn't taste good at the end of the day. Like, I would, if it was like, all right, you can't get drunk anymore, I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to drink soda then.
Club soda.
Club soda.
Club soda and lime.
Yeah.
All right, let's not talk about our drinking habits and how bad they are.
Right.
Let's talk about this now. The development of the MCU. So, let's look at this.
Here's where it's getting some points.
You got Vision.
You got
Scarlet Witch.
You got another Infinity Stone.
You got more Infinity Stones. You got Thor realizing the Infinity Stones, which I think is a big thing that no one had been aware of how significant the Infinity Stones have been so far. So you got that. You've got the groundwork if you want to argue for Civil War.
Oh, no, I think for sure.
Because of Sokovia.
The Sokovia Accords.
But again, it's hard for me to... I'm going to knock at some points because I think you take an iconic Marvel villain and you waste him in the spot.
Yeah.
I think there's so much you could do with Ultron. This was hyped up as, this is the dark guy. Loki was kind of the, like, wild card. The Charlie Day.
Yeah.
This is the dark guy. This is the Nightman.
This is the Dennis Reynolds.
This is the Dennis Reynolds.
It's all about that implication.
And it's so wasted for me. Yeah. And I think that just... I know I've taken points away from other scores, but I think because it's just so badly done, I think it's going to hurt me. So I think I
want to add a point to yours.
Okay, go ahead.
You add Claw, who comes in later.
You do add Claw.
And Wakanda mention.
You have a Wakanda. Okay, you have a Wakanda mention. You have the Claw. You have Hulk leaving the planet. You have Thor
Hulk's
leaving
gone.
the planet. So you have kind of a breakup of the original Avengers.
Yeah. Because
Tony's not out, but he's retired.
Yeah.
I think it's I'm going to go 3.5. If you want to talk me up, I might be able to go 3.75, but
I'm not going to talk you up. I think that's accurate. I'm going to go a little higher, just because I'm going to go 3.75. Just because, like, I feel like they added a lot. Even if it was just 3 mentions. So.
Like I said, I think the biggest issue for me, like, it is above average development because you have all of them together. And you get backstory about a lot of them.
The only way I would have argued is if you gave it under a 3. Then I would have been like, wow.
I think it is above average, but I just feel like when I look at the original Avenger, we give it a 5.
Well, yeah. It's Avengers.
Well, this is Avengers.
Yeah, but it's not, like, the first Avengers.
Yeah, but, like, that should be, when I get all of them together, this should develop the universe.
It's true. I guess because the issue was with the first Avengers, it was more of a global, like, globally known event that would be mentioned through multiple movies. And this one's brought up, like, Civil War. That's the only thing I can think of when they bring up Sokovia. Like, it's not mentioned in Spider-Man Homecoming.
It is mentioned in Spider-Man Homecoming. They learn about the Sokovia Accords.
Okay, I mean, just go ahead and prove me wrong. Why not?
That's literally the only reason I was born.
This is messed up. Fine. Fine. To the scientists. I'm angry now.
Alright, we're going to go to the scientists now and figure out the score. We're back. The scientists have calculated our scores. And, again, I think I'm a little shocked with the numbers put us here.
Yeah.
This is ranked as our 8th best movie in the MCU. This is right below, and I will say it's very close, right below Captain America, the First Avenger, and right above by a decent amount Thor.
Wait,
so
can we talk about when we started? Cap was, well, obviously Cap was our first one. Cap was the top. Do you think it would have ended up 7th this far in?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Honestly, we've seen Marvel has gotten better.
Yeah.
As they've developed their movies. And I think this was like a hiccup. And I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Joss Whedon. There's a lot of pressure on everyone to make a better movie. And I feel like they tried to do too much with what they had. Yeah. And I feel like that hurt them. But it does finish 8th. It's between Captain America and Thor.
I mean...
Are you surprised by this?
A little bit. Were you expecting lower?
No, I was expecting a little higher. I thought, honestly, this would fall between Guardians and Iron Man. The first Guardians and Iron Man.
I'm kind of comfortable with it.
I mean, I'm not upset with it. Like, had it fallen below, like, Iron Man 3, I would have been like, okay, we messed up somewhere here.
Oh, yeah. No, it was like, yeah, it's under Thor 2. Did you do your math?
If it's under Thor 2, we're burning the system down. Because nothing is worse than Thor 2.
Time to go to that Hydra scale.
The Hydra scale.
Need more druids. Need more druids.
I don't even remember the Hydra scale. What's your...
Heroes.
Euros.
Yeah.
No, Yad guys. That's what it was. Yad guys. Yeah, but anyway. Age of Ultron is our 8th ranked movie between Captain America, the First Avenger, and Thor.
Oh, man.
Connor, next week, we're going a little small screen.
A little small screen?
A little small scale.
Are we dealing with those? Are we going to get into some Pym particles?
I think Pym particles might be mentioned next week, as well as maybe some Paul Rudd.
Oh man, the most average looking man on Earth.
Maybe some Baskin Robbins jokes are going to be thrown around.
Evil company.
They are the most evil company.
Baskin Robbins.
We get the best side character possibly in the MCU.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, are we going to good old Mr. Centipede?
I will tell you, we're going to San Francisco.
Oh, ooh.
And we're gonna do a little Ant-Man.
Little Ant-Man.
I
like it.
I will say, this is the one MCU movie I don't know why I didn't own.
Yeah, you raved about this
movie.
movie.
I love this movie, and I just bought it this week, and I'm so excited because we're doing Ant-Man next week.
I thought that would have been like a week 1 buy for you.
It was, but it never went on sale. So like usually when I buy movies, it's like $17.99 for the Blu-ray DVD combo, and it never happened with Ant-Man. So I just went out and bought it on Amazon. So we're doing Ant-Man next week as we get you ready. We're less than a month away from Infinity War.
We got to get double up happening soon.
Yeah, we're going to have to double up.
All right. So.
Is this where I plead and beg the couch gnomes?
Exactly.
All right. Let me beg the couch gnomes and thank them for this hour and... Holy shit. It's an hour and a half. I just cursed. It's an hour and a half of podcast time right now.
Yeah. So I'm going to make this a quick one. We're the Couch Gnomes. We stream every Friday at like 6 to 8 or somewhere in there. There's YouTube, clearly, because this is where you're listening. Keep an eye out there. We do cool new stuff. We got merch. It's in the description. Not going to try to get it. I'm going to get that recording this week, I swear.
You say that every week.
Send me a text.
I will not do that.
Jerk. We're on all social media. Check us out. Brendon, development. I got a new phone recently, and Instagram was preloaded on it. I said, I'm going to log in. Didn't want to make an account, so I signed into the Couch Gnomes one. Haven't posted anything.
You're an Instagram lord now?
Just kind of been stalking Instagram for a bit.
I mean, that's what you do on Instagram, though.
Yeah. So, no. Please leave comments, stuff like that.
Yeah, and we want to hear your thoughts. Do you think Age of Ultron's too high, too low? Let us know. Comment on these videos. Send us one on Facebook. We want to talk with the people. We're a podcast of the people.
We are. Yeah, man. I think that's it.
I think that was the quickest we've ever done that. I don't even know what to do now. What do I do with my hands?
I don't know. Just take that belt out of them. Jingling, jangling.
Listen, you.
Oh, no. All right, guys.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week for Ant-Man.
See ya.